So I'd like to show you another little project we got going on in the shop here. We're rebuilding a little 10-foot old town yacht tender. And I've replaced the stem in it. And stem was not in great shape. It wasn't failed completely, but the stem has to hold a lot of tacks and different things because she's canvas covered. So we decided we'd replace that, and we're replacing the keel and quite a number of frames and different things. But I'd just like to show you how I went about doing this stem project. In the first place, I've taken a pattern of the inside of the original stem, being this one. So what's happened here is that pattern was placed up inside the boat, and at one time, before I pulled that stem out, that pattern fit the backside of that stem. Now, I've also taken the widths of the stem here at different positions and recorded them and placed those dimensions from a center line onto the back of this stem. And then I've also picked up the angles with a bevel set here like this so I'd know what angle to saw it on. And then I put it in the bandsaw and progressive bevel sawn this shape to it right here, and it has not been dubbed since I put it in. So now, this was the pattern that I had taken. Like I said, this is what I call a tick-stick pattern. I put this diagonal stick in there behind the stem on an angle like that and just kind of braced it in position or clamped it in position. And then I just took these little sticks like this with a hot glue gun and stuck them onto that, and those touched the back of the stem. So when I took it out, this was a representation of the back side of the stem. So in order to have bent a stem, I needed to have a jig. So what I did was I placed this on these scrap pieces of plywood here, and basically this was the same shape as the plywood, you see. So what I did was I took three 3/4-inch layers of plywood and stuck them together, and I've got like teeth cut in it down here. That's to accept ends of clamps. Then I cut a hole in it right here just by plunging a skill saw in there on both sides and took a piece out. And on the curvature up here, I was able to clamp it in this manner with C-clamps. So I used some bar clamps over in here and some C-clamps in here. Now there is an interesting thing about this that I'd like to show you. And, you know, when they originally steam bent this stem, they didn't just bend it and put it in the boat. It was bent over a mold. And I'm going to demonstrate to you that it was overbent to begin with. Now, you see, it's not the same shape as it was when it was in the boat. It was in the boat, it was this shape. Now, I've taken it out, and instead of straightening out, it's actually bent more. This is a representation here of the jig that they bent the stem over originally. Now, after it cooled off, then they transferred it to the boat into another bit of a jig of some sort, and then they had to open the angle up in order to fit, but they didn't have to bend it. What they had to do was they put a little negative bend in it to make it fit the boat properly. And then the same thing is exactly true of the stem cap that goes over it after the canvas has been put on. Look at the difference. It just amazes me. But that used to be shaped like this when it was on the boat, something like that. So both of these pieces are steam bent, and they've been overbent before they were placed on the boat. Now, my stem is a laminated stem. So when I laminate it on this jig and clamp it up in the glue sets, when I undo those clamps, there is no recall like this, either negative or positive. So I know when I put it up in the boat, I don't have a jig to put it on. I only have the frames and bits of planks and different things in order to put it in, and it's got to be proper. So when I've taken it off here, I had no recall whatsoever. It actually fits exactly. If I were to take the pattern I showed you and put it on the back side of the stem I've placed in the boat, it would fit perfectly. So we've placed it in place there. I've made some notches in it for some frames up here at the 4-foot area, and I've just temporarily fastened it to this plank, and this plank is going to be removed, and we're going to replank the whole boat. But the stem is installed, and I'm quite pleased with it.